Marriage is complicated.
I vomited on the spot. I was like, immediate divorce.
That's why they're here to talk about it.
And he thinks that burping is unacceptable, but farting is fine.
Nicole Pellegrino.
My thigh sweat is chafing together.
Caroline Crawford Patterson.
You're making it so difficult for me to do anything here.
Honey, we're home.
Hey guys, it is Caroline Crawford Patterson.
And Nicole Pellegrino.
And this is Honey, We're Home.
I'm so excited. We're actually doing this. This is episode 1 of Honey, We're Home.
Which is a funny story because initially we announced as Honey, I'm Home. And that was like the 10th name that we chose.
I'm sorry, real quick. John is so adorable.
What is he doing?
He's literally just gave
He's
me
just staring.
like he knows I'm nervous. He knows we're both nervous.
And also, like, we can leave.
No, we like you here.
No,
John, I need you here.
cute,
Honestly,
it's cute. It's helpful. You're saving
you
us.
are my comfort saving grace. We're still going. This is part of the episode.
This is part of the episode.
Caroline's husband John is in the room, and he's both of our husbands now because Mike left and went and blamed it on the dog and
John,
said,
do you want to just come say hi then?
"Oh,
Since you're already...
no, we'll introduce him in future episodes. He doesn't want to."
Okay.
So no, John is both of our husbands. John is the reason I am still standing at 5:30 p.m. on this fine Sunday that we're recording our first episode
After we just did our entire photo shoot,
for the cover image.
we really sign ourselves up for maybe too much at a time.
So Caroline and I, you guys will learn a lot about us. I'm sure if you're listening, I hope you do know something about us. Well, you might not, whatever.
Yeah.
You might just be tuning in, but you will learn a ton about us, about our relationships, about what makes us tick in future episodes. But one of the things you do need to know, I feel like we are procrastinators.
Hugely.
And like we get really passionate about something, aka this podcast.
And we don't let it go, but it doesn't mean we're going to get it done.
No, we need a little nudge. We need outside forces to just make us do it.
That's like an individual thing about both of us that we just have in common, which allows us to work together. Because I don't think anybody else would be able to stomach it.
No.
I can't at all.
So I would be punched in the face in about 3 seconds.
Literally.
Did you want to punch me in the face last night when I tried to change the name?
When you got out of the shower and said, should we go back to our first name?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, let's tell them about the name.
Okay. So when we first came up with this podcast, that's not even true. Like a year after we came up with it and we started talking about names, we put in our pitch deck TBD. And then someone was like, that's kind of a good name. In the same moment that we looked at each other, we were like, that's kind of a good name because...
To be decided.
Yeah. Like, what's next?
Right.
You know? Like, we both grew a big following during our weddings. We've both, done bride-related things for so long and we still love it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, what do you do now?
Right. Like after the wedding, like you said, we both like grew our followings online, on TikTok, on Instagram, etc. from like going hard on wedding TikTok. Would you say that's how we met? Like you were leaning in. You were really the first TikTok bride. I hate that phrase.
But not maybe TikTok, I guess. But you were already in that space.
Yeah, I was hosting Betch's Brides. Yeah, that's where if you guys see me on the internet, that's where you probably see me is all over Betch's Brides, Betch's channels. Love my Betches. I'll be a Betch for life. But I was hosting Betch's Brides while planning my wedding during the pandemic. And then I remember though seeing Caroline like blowing up on TikTok, planning her wedding, doing these like really creative, crafty things with your bachelorette party. And I was like, I could get famous on TikTok if
I had already seen you too on Betch's Brides because I was getting married.
That's right.
So we just started DMing. I didn't live in New York yet. And we were like, what are we going to...
Instagram takeover.
Oh yeah, that was before. Right. So I guess we were friends.
Internet friends
far before that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I would say we just like hit it off. We like the same things.
Yeah.
We both have like similar relationship scenarios.
It's also hard to make friends at this age. And this is something that we'll talk about female friendships in like an episode or two. But it is really difficult to make friends at this age, especially when you're like, okay, I did kind of get married young. I am in a big city. Mm-hmm. a lot of people put you in a category of like, they have it all together. Like they're grown up. They're in this like different stage of life. And like, that's not necessarily true. But then at the same time, you do have a lot of different things going on that you want to find someone that you can like relate to and have support with, because it is tricky. Like you're still building a career and you're in this marriage now.
You're saying when you get married, it's like, yeah. And that's
like it does
reason,
shift.
Exactly. Like that's the reason we want, one of the many reasons we've been wanting to have this podcast for a while. It's just because like, when you do get there's this stigma around, there's like a loud motorcycle.
Wow,
there's this
so rude.
stigma around when you get married, like you were saying, like you're just kind of like married now, and then next is you're
like
expected
it's over.
to have kids, honeymoon, then kids. About approximately
buy
1
house,
to 2
white
years
picket
later.
fence.
Exactly. Move to the suburbs, and like, yeah, you could
It's
still
in
work,
a box.
but you can't have dreams. You
Yeah.
can't have careers. So that's really like the why behind this podcast. Like
Right.
we really want to show you that you can do it all. You
Yeah.
got to train your husbands to be supportive. And like I'm personally going to use this podcast as like marriage therapy.
Yeah. Same, because I just think that like, for us at least, we found someone that we can confide in with each other about a bunch of these things. Someone that is right there with us.
Yes.
And I think we're more and more learning that there are a lot of other people right there with us.
Yeah.
And so this is a really therapeutic, almost safe space to be able to like talk it through.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of the reason this podcast has been so long time coming, we've been talking about doing it. We've been dragging our feet. One is because we, again, are the worst procrastinators ever. We can't make a decision with like things like the name.
But we want it to be perfect.
We want
at
it
the
to be,
same
we're
time.
perfectionists.
Yeah.
And we've worked very hard on this. You guys will see in future episodes. But just to get like kind of vulnerable for a second, one of the things, like the reason I avoid things sometimes is just because I was like, okay, if we're going to do a podcast about relationships and marriage and life and career and friendships, especially those, I was like, I don't have all those things together. Who am I to be giving expert advice on that shit?
Right.
So I was like,
but that was the problem. Also,
Yeah.
at the same time, is because I feel like everybody has like their own creative thing and everybody's really great at what they do. But what is currently in the space is not very hopeful for us. Like,
right.
it really is like, oh, we have it all together and this is kind of what we're tackling and this is what we're talking about. And like, I don't think that there's really anything that we want to listen to that like helps us with like where we're at right now. Like trying to build a career, trying to figure it all out. Like, I don't own a home. I don't have kids.
Thriving. Like, that's one big thing for me. Like, I was like, my marriage personally, these past couple, I'd say like months, my marriage, I mean, Mike and I, you'll learn more about us. We're about to talk about us, our relationships, but just to be very transparent with you guys, one of the reasons I've been like, do we start this now? Why now? Is because my marriage just like isn't in the best place that it's been. It's just like point blank. And I'm not going to go into like the whys right now, but I will tell you that we are going to be very honest and vulnerable with you guys throughout this whole podcast.
Do you know what I just thought about?
What?
Is that, you know how everybody says the first year of marriage is like so hard?
I'm about to be.
But it was yours? Because my first year was great.
No, yeah.
But year 2 is hard.
I agree.
And then when we got out of year 2 in May, like it literally upticked so much again. Like year 2 was the
John's in the room.
like just that's true though, because I was so prepped for year 1 to be hard. Year 2 was the real bitch.
Year 1 felt like the same.
Yeah, it felt the same. And then year 2 was hard.
Yeah.
But like I couldn't put a finger on it really. Like it just for some reason.
Was your whole year hard?
I don't know. Yes, I think 3 or 4 months into the second year, I was like, I don't know. It just felt like a little weird.
Yeah.
And then our anniversary is in May. And then I mean, definitely by June, everything was just like so upbeat, so happy. I don't know what it was. I don't
You're
know.
in your year 3?
Well, now we're in year 3, but you're still in year 2.
Well, get me to fucking year 3.
But you're still in year 2.
Yeah. So it'll be 2 years.
Because I
September
had
4th.
that same thing, but nobody was telling me about that because everyone just told me year 1 would be hard and then year 1 wasn't hard.
Wow. Okay.
So I was shocked.
This is why, because this is relatable. Like the fact, yeah, I mean, that's refreshing to know that your year 2 sucked. It's not the whole year too.
No.
It's just like literally these past couple months ish. And we've just been so busy. We've both been just like distant. I think sex is a huge fucking part of marriage. I think sex needs to be like a topic on every episode if it were up to me, because that's such a big thing for me. Just like physical, emotional intimacy, everything. But
well, things just get lost too when you're really busy.
Yeah.
You know you love each other. So
Right. So that's, yeah. But I mean, there's like so many reasons. We'll get into
in
all
so
why,
many
but-
different ways though. Like
Yeah.
you just like can't forget to like always be like
working on it.
Yeah.
They say
You
marriage
always
is
have
hard
something to
work.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to
Do you know what do you think about when there was that clip of Hailey Bieber saying that marriage is hard work and she got like roasted for it? What did that clip make you feel?
I know what you're talking about. I should know more. I mean, I don't know. What is her and Justin's relationship like?
I mean, I don't know them personally, but like
I'm asking as if
Since
you
they're my
do.
best
I'm like,
friends.
Tell me about the ins of
since
their
they're my best
relationship.
friends. I mean, I'm sure that they're like happily married. Like it seems like obviously they've gone through
He
some
writes
shit.
some dark shit, but
He does write some dark shit. But the thing is that like she said that in the same week that Michelle Obama said something, or maybe I just saw it in the same week. I don't like, don't quote me on that.
what did Michelle Obama say?
Basically saying it'll never be 50-50. And like, but she followed it up, which it isn't ever 50-50. Like someone is always doing more and then like it just
Fact.
balances, you know,
Fact.
like that's such a relationship myth. But in the larger interview, she was saying like, I for years put my dreams on the back burner. Like,
Michelle was?
yes. And everybody was applauding her. And then Hailey says, marriage is hard work. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. And she gets roasted and everyone's like, see, like she, you know, this is why you don't get married. And I just thought that was so
she's
dumb.
right. I think
Right.
she's right. I think
Yeah.
it really is. Like to have a really good marriage for long term. I'm talking like sorry to those of you listening who are like, you met 2 years ago, you moved fast, you got married. Happy for you, and I'm sure you'll be together forever. I know so many relationships like that.
Yeah.
But like both of us, we've been in it long term.
Long term.
We've been together since college.
Right.
We have changed so much since
And
then.
anyone that's not even married and just in a long-term relationship for that long, what I think agree.
right.
Like, it's hard work. Like, it's not hard to be married,
Yeah.
but it's still, the work is hard. And if the work was easy, it probably wouldn't be worth
It's not
it.
hard to be married. It's
No.
hard to make it the best marriage it can be.
It's hard to always hold yourself accountable to keep working on stuff and be
Right.
better and be the best version of yourself and continue to grow.
Right. Well, and I'm a very like Scorpio hardcore, I'm all in or nothing. I need like
Yeah.
passion all the time or else I feel like no, I'm not living.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I need. And if I ever feel like, and I'm not saying that's the right way to be.
No, but
at
that's
all, but,
your
like-
way of being. And like Mike
Yeah.
has a way of being too, that like he needs something. I'm very much a Virgo. So I'm like, I need stability all the time. Like if
Well, you got that. I feel stable because John.
but that was a thing that we worked on for a really long time.
Yeah.
Like consistency was so key in terms of like me feeling safe
Yeah.
and like something that might not mean anything to anybody else or even to him. Like he wouldn't even pick up on his radar of like this could potentially make her feel like unstable or
Yeah.
like she wouldn't be protected in the situation or unsafe or like protected is the wrong word. But like I would have to be like, no, like that,
Yeah.
this doesn't make me feel good. And it is a big deal to me, even though it's not to somebody else. So like this always has to be priority, even if it's something that you've never had to make a priority before. It's not a priority to you.
You're saying the relationship or just like how
For
it
me
makes
to
you
feel,
Yes.
for me to be like fulfilled and stable in
protected,
any
fulfilled.
relationship, that's important.
Yeah.
And then
you're
John
saying
Hastings
he needs
too.
to make a priority of that.
Right. Which
make
that's
that a
hard
priority.
work for him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's any relationship. It's learning what the other person needs, saying to yourself, am I willing to like cater to those needs to like the love languages for crying out loud?
Which is why we have Icks of the Week.
Yes.
Because it's not perfect. And it is. And it's also not that big of a deal that it's not perfect most of the time. It's funny.
Right,
it's just your best
like,
friend.
At the end of the day, don't overthink it too much.
No.
This is Overthinkers Anonymous.
Right.
And that's not what we're trying to do with this.
No, we're not trying to make it serious. Like, we want this to be funny. And it is funny.
Right. Oh, no.
But
like,
it's also serious.
It's serious, but also funny. That should be the fucking name of the podcast.
Yeah. It's serious but funny. It's seriously not funny.
No, that's one of the things. Like, I was raised to not overthink life. And I'm very grateful for that notion. And that's like, I struggle with that because I do fucking overthink things, but not overthink, not take things too seriously. That's what I don't want to do. So at the end of the day, like, I just want to have fun.
Yes. Like that's the thing though, is that like I was taught like, or at least me growing up, I had very bizarre examples of relationships. So the thing that I always
unpack that.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing I was always thinking was like, well, I guess you should probably just marry your best friend because then you've got that at the end of the day.
That could be its own whole episode.
Yeah, it probably should be. Because I think that's why when we strip away, like, okay, I'm not in like the best place my relationship has been in at this time, or like A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Like, it's still okay.
Right.
No
like,
one's
you're
saying
still with
like
somebody who you enjoy.
It's still your best friend.
Yeah.
Like, they're not any less your best friend now than they were last year.
I don't know. I want to unpack that whole, like, should you marry your best friend question in a whole separate episode.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a fine line between, like, friend and lover.
Well, John and I were never friends first.
Really?
Yeah.
So okay, let's get into that. Let's talk about how you and John met.
Okay. John and I met in college.
Mm-hmm.
And John was 19.
I always forget he's younger than you.
He's so young.
Which
is a whole different thing that we went through when we got engaged, where I had a freak out and I was like, are you gonna...
He's 19, you're 28.
I was 20. He's not 19 now.
Sorry. You guys have to forgive me. You guys gotta forgive me. I'm in this sweltering hot room. And I'm slowly fading.
There's no AC.
There's no AC because it's my thigh sweat is chafing together, and that's where that mishap.
My makeup is melting.
What are your guys' ages again?
Okay, listen. We met when he was 19, and I had just turned 21, but we're one grade apart, and we met in a public speaking class.
Oh, that's
dated for a few years, went through a bunch of stuff. We broke up, then got back together, got married years after that. At this point, we're in our third year of marriage, but we've been together for 8 years.
Did you live together before getting... Yeah.
No. That should also be an episode.
That needs to be its own episode because that is becoming a common thing. Everyone I'm talking to...
And I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, we didn't agree on it. Like,
is it a Catholic thing?
No. I wanted to live together. Especially when COVID happened, I was like, we should just live together. And John was like, we've made it this far. I really want to like see it through because we were already engaged and not living together. And so I would love to unpack that because it's not as cut and dry as you both just being like, yeah, like, let's do this. Like, no, like that could also be a conflict.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was like a no-brainer until recently. I thought it was a no-brainer that you live with your significant other before getting engaged, before getting married. Everyone I talk to these days is like, no, we didn't live together yet. I'm like, what? How?
It's crazy. I mean, I thought that too. So I was like, when we didn't, yeah, it should be a whole thing.
It should.
But it was perfect for us. But this is the thing though, is like, you just got to make a decision that works for, this is just such common sense at this point to me, is like, do what works for you.
Right.
Like there's no magic eraser for like all your issues. You just got to do what works for you. That worked for us.
Okay, back to you and John's relationship. So you met in college. What do you remember? I'm throwing curveballs at suddenly.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this right back at you.
Do you remember the first time you like actually met him and what was said?
This is such a funny story. John and I never agree on the story. But this is my podcast, so I'm telling it. We met in public speaking, and John like noticed me in the class, and he would like it was an 8 a.m. class, so I was always doing homework for a different class. And he would be like, hey, Caroline, like, I didn't know him. So he'd be like, Caroline, like, can you come like help fix the projector? And I remember like that specific question. I literally said like, no, like you can ask somebody else. Like, I didn't understand why he was asking me. Like, I was busy.
Your idea of flirting, John?
Yeah, John was, and
asking her to fix a projector?
Yes. That was his idea.
He likes a handy woman.
And it's like so funny because that's true. That's true. Now he doesn't because I'll try to fix anything like when he's not there.
A handy woman. Okay, so you were annoyed?
I just like didn't notice, and then I kind of thought like these guys were like staring at me during class. I thought they were whispering about me, so I like asked somebody. I was like, "Do you know who those guys are?" Because like I think that they know something about me that I don't know. Like I think there's a rumor going around about me because they always whisper about me in class. I don't know what they're saying because it's always when I'm on the podium giving my speech. So I'm reading my speech and I can't actively listen. Right. And so then I was in a cafeteria one day. John walks by. I don't know it's John. I mean, I knew it was a guy that was like with his friends kind of like talking about me. And I was like, that's the main guy. And
that's the culprit of the the
I'm going to hear about this on the way home because John is like, this makes me sound like such a creeper. And it's not. It's just we went to a really small school. So like I was already surprised I didn't know people.
What school again?
Wofford College, which is in like literally bumfuck nowhere. So this guy that I actually went to high school with, I was like determined to go through college without dating anybody. This guy I went to high school with was dating one of my friends at the time, very weirdly. We're all sitting at a table together, very weirdly. Like we didn't often eat together. And he was like, oh, that guy's John Patterson. And if you were to ever marry anybody from Wofford, it would be that guy. And that was the first time I ever heard John's name.
Oh, this guy.
I know. That was the first time I ever heard his name. And I forgot about that statement. And I got reminded of it like almost a year after John and I started dating.
Who is this man who like literally professed your future?
He actually did.
Wait, okay. So, and then what? You just over time decided to fix the projector when John asked?
No. Then we ran into each other after. So he played football. So after a homecoming game, we ran into each other.
That's right. He was an athlete.
Yeah. And we ran into each other and he was like, I'll tell this part of the story too, because this is embarrassing on my part.
See, did you find it hot that he was an athlete? Because that alone, like, marry me. Like, just sign me up.
I mean, I do think it's hot that he's athletic, but at the time, I'm going to say no, because I literally was such in a, like, I didn't want to go to that school. I didn't want to be there. Oh, wow. Like, I didn't want to date anybody. I didn't want to hook up with anybody. I just wanted to be left alone.
Oh.
So I think I was more
like you didn't want to hook up?
No, like I wanted to be left alone.
What, with girls? What?
No, just like by myself. I wanted to. It's such a long story. Yeah, I like tried to get out of the school. I was like, I'm transferring. I wanted to leave.
You were one of those.
Yeah. Okay. Like I was like not attached to the school at all.
Got you. That was Mike with JMU.
Yeah, like I just simply didn't want to be there. So for me to like, then I just believed everybody, all guys there sucked.
Okay, so your mindset was like, get me the fuck away from here.
Right.
Okay, got you.
It was less like, it was more, I just had such a generalization about everybody at the school.
Right.
Tunnel vision. I didn't want to be there. So to me, it would be a waste of time to talk to anybody. So then he comes up to me at a homecoming game and I actually have one of my best friends from high school in town. And he's like, hey, like I'm John. I'm like, whatever, I know. And he just smiled at me and I think that I just probably melted away because he asked like, do you want to hang out? And I looked at this man dead in the eyes and I said, do you mean outside of class?
Outside of fixing that projector?
Yeah. And the rest was history.
He's like, yes, I'm done. Let's move on from the projector. What was your first date or was it not a date? That's one big resentment I have towards Mike.
Yes. Well,
we like never dated. I swear to God.
John really wanted to take me on a date. I was in a phase. I didn't like men taking me on dates.
You're like impossible.
I was impossible. I felt uncomfortable. I had so many deep issues. I didn't want somebody paying for me. Like,
oh God, what?
I just felt uncomfortable. Like I felt like, because what if I didn't like you and then I would feel bad and like, I don't know. I had all these complexes about it. So I would avoid it. And so one day John was like, we'll just go to Chipotle. And I like ordered in line first and then I like paid for myself. And John was so mad.
He's like, I could have paid for you.
He's like, you're making it so difficult for me to do anything here.
Yeah.
And so I went home to Thanksgiving in Atlanta where my aunt lives, and John's from Atlanta. So he was like, what if I rode home with you for Thanksgiving? I'm like, okay, we're like fully dating at this point, but haven't gone on an official date.
Okay.
So he's like, I know you're going to be in Thanksgiving for X amount of days because we're riding back to school together. Like, we're going on a date.
Right.
Like, you really don't have any way around it.
Yeah. Okay. So he wanted to when you were both home in Atlanta or back at school.
Yeah, he wanted to for like months, but that was really like I couldn't fight it.
Catch you. Yeah. He had to trap you.
Yeah. But he like took us on the Ferris. So it was cute. And
Yeah.
I like met his grandmother, all of his friends, like everybody at that time.
Early.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked.
What is your resentment towards Mike about the date?
That we never went on a date. Like, we literally, there are so many reasons Mike and I like should not have worked. Like,
Tell me. Wait, so how did you know you were dating? Did he ask you? Do people still ask each other if they're can be boyfriend and girlfriend?
Quite literally don't fucking know
Like, what
people
happens?
do these days. I went on a dating podcast recently and I literally was like, why am I here? I was there as like the married girl, but like, I was like, I don't know what the rules are. I don't know shit. But why was I mad at Mike? But okay, because we met in college. Should I tell this story? How much time do I have? Whatever. Okay, we met in college. A same situation kind of as like we knew of each other kind of. It was JMU, big school, but we were both in Greek life. Woo, frat and sorority. So like everybody in Greek life kind of like knows of each other. And Mike was like, this sounds so lame, but Mike was like one of the cool, I hate this, one of like the cool frat guys because
Like everybody wanted Mike.
a lot of people definitely wanted him. He took a semester off like right before.
I did too.
Really?
Oh,
You
wow.
and him are very similar.
Yeah.
This always happens. I'm always like my friends'
Yeah.
husbands and they're always
Same.
like
I think
like-
well, there's a reason for that.
yeah, we'll unpack that.
Yeah.
Back to the story. So yeah, we met at JMU. We kind of knew of each other a little. Mike was like that hot guy who had just gotten back from like his semester off.
Oh, he was like mysterious.
Like, where was he for a semester? It was literally because he was about to get kicked out from like JMU had these like, if you get 3 strikes, you're out drinking system. And he had like 2. So he pulled out for a semester, then came back. But yeah, no. So I knew of him a little bit. We have conflicting stories about when we actually met for the first time.
Okay.
Long story short with mine. So I swear we met in one of the dining halls when I saw him. I was sitting with Brooke and Tommy O'Connor. Holy shit. These two, sitting with my 2 friends. It was fine. Midterms or finals week. I was literally no makeup, just picture ugliest I've ever been in my entire life. Sitting there eating a pesto chicken wrap in sweats, ugly sweats.
Because
not
we
cute
all
ones.
dated. If you dated in college, like it's a blessing to be with us today.
Truly, like you saw
it's
a
just-
rat.
Yeah, like it was not.
Like a gross sewer
Right.
rat. And like you've seen me at my fucking worst.
Yeah.
So that was me sitting at this table in festival at JMU. All of a sudden I look up and I see Mike freshly out of the gym, muscle tank on. I don't know why for some
The
reason.
muscle tank.
I was attracted
You
to that.
loved it.
I guess. I like the
You
Guidos. Is that, can I say that?
I don't know.
Like
but we
Italian.
can edit it
Yeah.
out.
Like whatever. I liked Italian.
Nicole
men.
is Italian.
And I am Italian, so very attracted to an Italian stallion. Mike's not even that though. But whatever. So he was in the line.
Gym Tan Laundry.
I knew he was GTLing. I knew Tommy O'Connor and him were in the same frat. Shout out to Tommy O'Connor. I don't even talk to this kid anymore. But so I turned to Brooke and Tommy and I'm like, oh my God, that's Mike Freeze. He's so hot. That's all I say. Or I said the things I would do to him. Sorry. It was
That's
a little
what
more-
you said?
I said the
Oh,
things
sorry. It was
I
a little
would
more
do to
crude.
him. Yeah. Let me rephrase that.
Let's
I
get the
did.
record straight.
Something along the lines of like I would
Look at that,
climb
daddy.
him like a tree or some shit.
No.
Like a movie.
Can you say that one more time just so we can all hear it?
I was like, the Mike Freeze, I would climb him like a tree. And
It probably in that voice.
in that
Because you do
definitely.
use that voice.
I use weird I say weird
That
shit.
is awesome.
And so Tommy,
advocated
Again,
on your behalf
I don't
because
think anything's
you were going to
gonna
get Mike Freeze
Well,
laid.
and like, if you know me, you know, like, I like to look good in front of people I want to impress, whatever. I guess that's everybody.
So the pesto
So
wrap
I-
wasn't doing it for you in that
I was not
moment.
picturing him encountering us. Like, I thought he was going to get us food, walk on by. Tommy goes, Freeze, come here. He goes, you think he's hot? Really? Let me call him over here. Calls him
Yeah,
over.
what do you think when you say something like that?
I don't fucking know. I don't know. Calls him over.
Like, good to know.
Comes and sits. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Tommy was feeling ballsy that day. Calls him over.
You were feeling ballsy. You asked to climb him like a tree
Again, I was behind closed doors.
with your pesto wrap in one hand.
And there's pesto in my teeth. Mike sits down. I don't think I said a word and I'm usually like funny, witty, whatever.
Oh.
I didn't speak. It was Brooke was like friends with all the ATO boys. That makes her sound so slutty. Whatever. So she knew him. So they were talking just normal. And I think I sat there like a little mute. And then eventually Mike gets up, texts Tommy O'Connor and says, hey, Nicole Pellegrino, is that like you were sitting with Nicole Pellegrino? I think she's hot. Do you have her number? And I was like, whoa, I guess he's attracted to little sewer rat mutes.
Tommy didn't tell him?
No, so Tommy gave him my number.
But Tommy didn't tell him what you said.
I'm sure he probably did. I don't even remember the
I gotta ask
details of
Mike
that.
now.
We gotta have Tommy O'Connor on.
We have to have Tommy O'Connor on. And maybe next episode will be John and Mike telling their version of the stories because this is really true though. Everybody wants a like meet cute story, but like no one agrees on their meeting story. So it's just not going to happen.
No. Well, Mike's is a whole different. He thinks it happened at a field day. The field day and the cafeteria both happened, but we can't agree on which one was first. His field day one, long story short with that, I've told it on like 17 other podcasts, but I was playing music. It was a big philanthropy thing, like 200 sorority girls there, and it was just Mike's frat putting it on. So it was like one guy to like 7 girls, these teams of girls. So that was how Jamie was, though. There were like 2 guys to like 10 girls. Exactly. And Mike was like coaching my team and flirting with my roommate a ton. Like him and my roommate were gonna fuck. Like I swear. I was like, and I remember being a little annoyed because I was like, oh, I think he's hot.
Until
whatever.
you told Tommy that you wanted to climb him like a tree.
Exactly. And Mike just he said that I won in musical I remember being like, I gotta stick out and impress him like a little savage.
This is awesome.
And I, out of 200 women, girls, whatever, I won musical chairs. I hit the other girls out of the way with my ass. And I won this musical chairs game. I will never forget. It was down to me and a Zeta. And I said, I did not come this far to lose. And I hit her out. I was wearing neon. I literally hit her out of the way with my butt hard. I was drunk at this point. We were drunk at everything. And that's why we can't remember things because we were drunk the whole time.
We should probably caveat that in there.
Yeah. And it was like in the middle of the day raising money for like Alzheimer's. And I'm like, we were wasted. But so yeah, I mean, I won musical chairs. He said that I definitely stood out. And he thinks that's the first time.
He thought that was first.
Yeah.
So then when he went into the cafeteria scenario, I can't talk.
I know, we can't.
The cafeteria scenario. He was ready to ask for your number.
Yeah, I guess. It does logically, I do have to give it to him. It makes more sense that field day would have been first, cafeteria second. So maybe we'll just finally settle this debate. I don't know. Once again, I was drunk. But yeah, we met. But keep in mind, and we'll unpack this later too, like I was a fuck girl at the time. Like I had a roster.
No way.
Yeah.
How big was JMU?
Like 20, I always say this number and I honestly have no idea if it's true. 25,000 people at the time. It was big.
Wofford was like 1,700.
Oh my God.
Like it was too small to have a roster.
That's like a middle school.
Like actually.
Yeah, like if you had a roster there, you were a whore. Mm-hmm. Like you were banging the entire football game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, no, we
call that for the team.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's
cute.
not a compliment.
Well, I was for the school at JMU. I lived with all the football players. Surprisingly, did not hook up with, made out with.
A few?
Yeah, but didn't.
They were halfway on the roster?
Yeah.
That's I always wonder what it would be like to go to a big school like that, though, because I do feel like when you go to a smaller school, like, there's nothing wrong with that. It just was like, you live in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
So you just like don't feel like you can do anything without being watched and criticized. And it's like really like in the South. So everybody just has these like sharp, harsh opinions about what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Here's the thing. We're going to unpack like I have so many questions for you, for myself, about being in a long-term relationship, about me too. Always get the question like, do you feel like you didn't get to like date and live enough?
Yeah.
We're going to unpack all of that in future episodes, but since we don't have a year to talk right now,
and since we could talk for a year, if you let us,
we will throughout the course of this podcast.
Yeah.
Let's move on to one of our favorite segments that I think we might do every episode, right?
We've got to, I think, because
it's so us.
It brings it back down to like the fact like it's just really not that serious at the end of the day. Like it's funny, just whatever. Okay.
Right.
You want to introduce it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's called Husband Ick of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. An ick is something that like kind of turns you off of them for good. I feel like because I've been researching what exactly an ick is.
You researched it?
I've been like watching TikToks.
Is there like an Urban Dictionary?
I think an ick is something that like grosses you out when you're dating somebody and then you stop being with them because of it.
Oh, so it's the young kids are calling an ick a deal breaker.
Yes,
or
basically.
Vice versa.
But we're going to just pretend like we're still going to be with our husbands and we love them to death.
Yeah.
But there's little things that they do that
it's still an ick.
The fuck out.
Yeah. My sisters give me icks. I know I give John icks.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody has icks.
Yeah.
Icks and
I ick myself out.
Yeah. Oh,
all the time.
I have so many icks
all the time
for myself.
Yeah, literally.
Ew.
So it's fine. So let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say mine is like of the month because this is my ick that actually inspired this segment.
Okay.
Let me guys think that we love watching them work out. and there are fitness couples out there. Mike and I work out together because we both take Rumble. That's nice. 2 seconds away from our apartment. And shout out to Rumble Boxing Hoboken. They give us like unlimited. It's amazing.
That's so nice.
And it's the best workout ever. It's in and out, whatever. Okay.
I wonder if John won't work out with me.
Really?
Dang, now that's going to be my ick.
Okay, yeah, that's an ick.
What a problem.
So we work out together, which usually turns me on. I'm like, this is hot, like releasing pheromones together, whatever the fuck you release when you work out. However, the other day, or a couple weeks ago, Mike, I look over as we're on the bags part. And Mike just like, I can't even describe the way he punched the bag. It was like he opened up a little too far and it looked so dramatic and punched a little too hard. You can't punch too soft or too hard for me. It's got to be right in the middle. He punched a little too dramatically and a little too hard. And it was the way his like shoulder blades contorted before it happened. The form was so off, but even ever since then, I vomited on the spot. I was like, immediate divorce. The way he punched the Rumble bag was my ick.
Like you couldn't watch it.
I was like, I think I made a face, maybe a sound came out. I was so grossed out. And then after class, I was like, can you work on your form? He was like, what? Poor guy's just trying to get a workout in. And it's just funny.
What if that was the one punch that he thought you were watching him for, though, so he like did it on purpose?
Well, then he fucking failed.
He was probably traumatized.
Seriously, it was just so ugly. I don't know how to explain it. I don't like. And his face was like grimace. I don't even. I can't handle when guys like make a grimacing face. That is enough to ick me for the century. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was mine. And I said to you, Caroline, we got to do a segment about it.
We have to,
because I could name because it's too funny more.
And do you know, one episode is going to be all about the Valentine's Day fiasco, like 2 years ago, the flower fiasco.
when
for
they
the
didn't
both
get
of
us
us when they
flowers.
didn't get us flowers.
Or
Or they got us the wrong flowers.
The wrong flowers.
That's going to have to be a whole thing.
That's a whole episode.
Because if we're good for one thing, it's having really unrealistic breakdowns about the same things
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
at the same time.
And they're somehow justified.
Yeah, well, we justify them.
Okay, I need to know your ick.
My ick is ongoing, but it is an ick of the week because it has been a problem this week. Is it John has the worst gas.
Like
it smells so, yeah. He farts
like loudly.
every time he walks. Violently.
Walks?
Yeah, like it just keeps, like he just moves around the house and takes it with him. So he doesn't tell you. He doesn't tell you.
To actually make me, I would be
It's so
drawing
bad.
out papers.
It's so bad.
No.
And this is the thing that really gets to me is that, like, I am someone, like, I will burp. I don't know why, but I burp a lot.
Burping's not as bad.
And he thinks that burping is unacceptable, but farting with violent, like, incarcerous smells is fine.
Farting is okay. Neither are like attractive. Like if you're belching in my face, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be like, that's fine. But farting is light years worse than burping.
That's the real ick for me. Is it like, I fart in front of him too. Like,
Yeah.
this is not like, whatever. We live in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. You're not going to get away with being mysterious for that long.
Yeah.
So, like, get over it. But, like, how are you going to justify to me that the burp is worse than the fart? And also, you're not telling me when you fart. I just, like, I'll walk into the kitchen of all places and it's, like, foul.
Oh, see, if I ever do, I warn Mike. I'm like, don't come in.
Same.
I'm like, yeah.
I just don't understand how you can think that your farts that smell that bad smell
okay.
so nice that no one else is going to know that you farted. Like, we're going to know.
Picturing John walking around the apartment, gassing
it up.
Windows.
It's
We need
terrible.
Pura to sponsor you.
Yeah, Pura, if you hear this, I could use some help. Like, this is the thing. Like, it's actually so foul. And then I'll be like, John, you farted? And he'll be like, who? Like, he will act like it didn't happen.
And listen, like everybody does it, but it's the fact that he's so okay with
It's
doing
so okay. And I'm not the only person that has been like, dude, stop
he
doing it in
eating?
front. Yeah. So every now and then somebody else is around when he does this and like they will be like, bro, you got to get checked out. His mom doesn't like
Maybe
it.
have, like,
but
celiac.
I'm supposed to. Yeah. Well, don't try to tell him he has any intolerance for food because he'll just tell you he doesn't. But he probably does.
God bless.
He totally
our
does.
husbands.
Like,
Honestly,
he can't eat chickpeas.
Oh no.
No.
Forget it. No legumes.
Sometimes this will start to happen and I'll say, John, did you eat Chopped today?
Chopped?
And he'll say
the
yes.
salad.
And I will say, did you get chickpeas in it? And then he'll just stop
Done
talking.
Done for.
And I'm like, right. We both knew the answer to that because it smells wicked in here.
But here's my thing too. When somebody's gassy, when another person in the relationship is gassy, what are we supposed to, I'm acting like I am. No, it's not even me. But like, I'm sticking up for John just because I love John more than anybody in the planet these days, especially after today.
After he's safe.
And I just always, John can do no wrong in my eyes. So just to play devil's advocate, holy shit, there's a beast
dog
out there. It's John farting.
I am gassy too. So we should just
What's
put
he
that out
supposed
there.
to do? Fart out the window?
Bro, just tell me you farted. Stop.
Right, acknowledge
it's like
it.
walking
Own it.
onto a landmine.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
It is a landmine. Just tell me.
I'm picturing like the taste in the mouth. I can't. I can't.
It's a landmine. And the other thing is like, stop telling me that burping is worse.
Correct. That
Because
would
that one-
soften the ick.
That would soften the ick. Because I just want to know, that to me makes me want to pick apart his brain.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get there?
Right. Like if you're thinking that thought, then what else are you thinking?
Exactly. Because it's so against human nature
What's
to think
wrong
that.
with you?
Mhm.
Yeah. Like
It's
that would
intriguing.
make me question a lot.
A lot.
That's stressful. Okay, mine's not as bad. You win, husband ick of the week.
Yours
let's do
is
a voting.
funnier. Because
Yeah.
yours is very actually
Niche
relatable.
and so me.
But
Like,
it's-
Mike can do no right in my eyes. Like,
That's
John
how I
can
feel
do no
about
wrong.
John. That's how I feel about John.
Like poor Mike, he can't win. Like,
But we love
punches
him
the
so
bag.
much. This
No,
is just the
we do.
reality of.
This whole podcast is not going to be us.
We're not.
bitching
Yeah,
about
it's
our
not.
husbands.
But
It's
we're
really-
also not gonna like act like we're better than everybody else in this world because
exactly.
At the end of the day, it's just life is what it is.
Okay. Should we do a quick rapid fire?
Let's do a quick rapid fire. And then let's answer one grid question we had about hanging out with your girlfriends during the week.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah, guys, you're going to be submitting questions to us each week. You're going to be like the way so we're going to drop the email at the end and in the show notes, but we're going to answer a question later. But let's do a quick relationship rapid fire. Let me grab my little Mikey. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes. Okay. Who does the cooking more in the relationship?
Who's going first, you or me?
You go and I'll just follow up.
Okay. John cooks pretty much 95% of the time, but I'd like to caveat that and say I do know how to cook. I am a good cook. I don't like it. I don't like to cook.
Same. Mike is the chef. We're blessed because that is not as relatable.
Yeah.
Mike is the chef. He enjoys it. He is a control freak in the kitchen.
Yeah.
When I try, I get micromanaged.
To help.
Yeah. I'm a sous chef. I'll do a salad.
Oh, I can't even be a sous chef.
Oh, really?
John will just literally
like shove you out.
He'll like burn a hole in the back of my head staring at me until I leave. He doesn't like it.
No, I'm a sous chef. Like Mike will order me around the kitchen and I like do as told. But,
I love that.
But he'll do like the meats. I'm a salad. I make a mean salad. A dressing, like the easy stuff. Maybe a vegetable.
I don't know. Making a good salad should not be underrated.
It really shouldn't.
It really shouldn't.
We'll share recipes.
There we go.
In the future.
Okay.
We'll go into that more though, the responsibilities. Who does the cleaning?
This is going to make me sound so bad. I am a deep cleaner, but John keeps things more clean. Like I am messier. John cleans more.
I would agree with that for us.
But like when I clean, I actually had to talk to my therapist about this once in actual premarital counseling. And John had to hear this conversation go down where she was like, sometimes it's okay if you can't pick up everything. If you can't even start to clean your room, you just pick up one. She had to coach me how to clean my room.
I need that lately. And I think that's part of the reason Mike and I are in a rut or whatever, because I am not focused with cleaning. I cannot bring myself to fully clean my room these days.
Because it takes so long to fully do it that I just would rather not start to do it.
Right.
I don't have a just do what you can mentality. Yeah. I'm either going to do it all or nothing.
Same these days.
So I just clean less.
Same, but in terms of the kitchen and stuff, Mike will clean. Mike will pre-clean and I'll go in and really make it clean. They don't fully ever wipe the counters.
That is so John pretty much, this hasn't always been true, but as of late, John always does the dishes. As of late, as in past few months.
Dishes are a men's task.
Yeah, I hate doing the dishes.
Dishes are for the men.
I can't stand it. I actually can't.
Ryan, our photographer.
I can't think of anything less I would like to do than dishes.
No, but we get our nails done.
It's your nails.
Bucks. I'm not.
So then John had me order gloves.
Oh fuck! I guess that you could do that. Don't let Mike hear that the gloves exist, because then
now John's like, "Oh, you didn't see the gloves?" And I'm like, "Stop!"
No, I don't have time to put gloves on and do dishes.
The gloves are an excuse.
No. Fuck the gloves. Nice try, but no.
I don't want to. Yeah, but I do. I have asked him for him when I do if I do the dishes, if I'm cleaning the kitchen, I then I wipe the cabinets down, the backsplash, the thing. He
Mike
never does
never
that.
Gonna wipe the fridge down.
I'm like, did you clean the trash can? He's like, why would you clean a trash can? I'm like, you have to clean the trash can.
They'll physically never know that that's something that is done.
Weekly.
That. Well, I don't know.
Well, sometimes. But you get my point.
Yes. We do the little, the tasks that go unnoticed is what we do. And they do, the more obvious ones, dishes. So then when it comes down to, argue about who does what, they're like, well, I do everything. And you're like, no, who do you think does all the behind the scenes work, the grunt work, the little fairy, once in a while I'll go through and dust the baseboards. Yeah. Mike would never.
John has never touched a baseboard, and I'll be like, we're going to clean the baseboard today, and he's looking at me like I'm an alien.
Well, I will say we have a lovely cleaning person who I'll hire on an ad hoc basis when I really feel like I'm going to
lose your mind.
Out.
Yeah.
And she's amazing, and but she'll do it deep.
That's what we went through this where it was who does what. And then eventually, we got to a point where we both realized we do so much that the other person doesn't even realize. Yeah. So now I feel like it's awesome because it's
Yeah.
John will like cook and do the dishes, etc. But he still knows that like I do so much. And so he's like, I just am trying to help where I can.
Right. Okay. So this also needs to be a whole episode. The whole who does what, how do you have that conversation? Because that's like what a relationship together is. Like that could be a whole podcast.
Also being able to shift and be like,
yeah,
you know,
like I had questions like who handles the bills?
Yeah. Who do we have? Okay. Who builds furniture?
Yeah.
Answer that one.
I used to more, but lately Mike.
Same. Switched. I used to build everything.
But I like will hang a photo on the wall.
Yeah.
I hang everything.
John is like gotten more handy now, but he doesn't like to do it, but he's good at it.
Yeah. No, same. When it's like a really complicated piece of furniture, like that's all Mike. But no, actually, you know what? I did our headboard recently. I'm more the furniture girl.
I will build. I'll put something together.
Yeah.
We are good at doing that stuff together. We can work silently and just like knock it out. Yeah. Like we have good telepathy with those things.
With Louis, like he tries to be involved in everything we do and he'll like try to eat the
That's
screws.
fair. A dog involved is so different.
Yeah, it becomes like a whole fucking
Oh my God. Oh, imagine if he ate a screw.
Yeah, he like.
Okay. Let's do celeb married couple of the week, or you want to do another?
We'll save that because let's do a couple more rapid.
Okay, go.
Okay, and then we'll move on to our thing, and then we'll be done. Who plans more of like the vacations?
I put out the idea of like where we should go, when we should go. John does the like, okay, this is how much like hotels are going to be. This is like what looks good. I'm going to get the restaurant recommendations, etc.
Yeah, John's good at restaurants.
He's great. I retired ever finding a restaurant again. I've retired from that role in life.
So opposite. Like Mike holds it down at home. He keeps the household running, but like I am the restaurant.
You're the restaurant girl.
I'm the planner. Mike, like if I'll delegate and I'll be like, you need to plan this aspect of the vacation, and I give him like transportation, but I plan like the cool parts.
The cool parts of it.
Yeah, because Mike would pick like holes in the wall that aren't cool.
You do have to know what like each person's strong suit is though.
Yeah, and mine is like anything that has to do with fun.
That's you.
We'll go into all of this more though. Who loves the other person more?
Do you have an answer to that? I actually don't.
So, okay, this is also like we need a therapist.
John might love me more. Just kidding.
Well, no, Mike, I think loves me a little more than I.
How do you measure it though?
I don't know. It's like a vibe. But I have a theory that the man always has to love the woman
I've heard this theory. So because I don't know if I agree. But I don't think the woman can love them more, but I think you can either love each other the same.
Okay, that's probably the healthy way to look at it.
I don't think it. I did hear what you're talking about though, and I agree. It can't be the woman.
I heard it. One of my friends said it recently, and I was
maybe
like,
it can be, and we're gonna get like yelled at for this.
No,
but I think
we need a marriage therapist on to talk about that.
Yeah, I'd love to know like an actual professional's opinion on that, but I kind of agreed with the girl's logic for why a girl can't love the guy more.
Yeah, I probably saw a TikTok on it and agreed with her logic. I just think it makes sense. Well, I just think personally in my relationship, and it flip-flops, I will say. Like, in terms of, like, wearing the pants.
That's what I think. It flip-flops. Everything flip-flops.
And I actually think that's healthy, that it flip-flops. I think it should flip-flop a little.
Because that's
what the majority of the time, Mike loves me. And I'm talking, like, a half a notch more.
Like, because, like, yeah. I mean, I think it's the same rule as the 50-50. It's not always 50-50.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just literally not emotionally capable of more than you're emotionally capable of.
Agree.
In that moment.
Agree.
And sometimes you are mad at the other person. And they're not mad at you. And vice versa.
Or like you want them more than they want you. Yeah. Like if one of they're more away,
distracted with work or involved.
Yes.
Or stressed out
like
about
lately,
something.
I'm more like passionate about work and like focusing on that. And Mike still is very with his actually lately. Like he'll copy what I do. Like I'll become so passionate about work
that he'll do it too.
And then he'll decide he loves work.
Will you like lead off of each other?
Yeah. Yeah. But I lead a little more.
That's cool. But I don't know. I think it's like a love who shows love more versus like at the end of the day who like actually loves
Who's better
more.
at showing it.
Yeah,
That's
maybe it's that.
He's better
at showing it.
Yeah.
Because I also would say that John is better at showing me love than I am at it.
I would say that. I mean, John is so good.
But I would never let anybody, like, I would never ever believe that, like, I don't love him as much as he loves me. But I definitely think that he is so in touch with, like, how to show it. Like, he pays a lot of attention to me.
That might be why I think Mike... I think we love each other the same. Now I'm stepping back on whatever. This is a whole episode. Whatever. We'll get.
It's all confusing because everybody has all of these opinions and this advice, and it doesn't really like
apply to everybody.
Well, it also like people don't explain it to the point that it's like actually makes sense.
Right. Like I'm literally just saying my thing and not explaining it. We need to have a therapist on to dissect this and decide,
would be helpful,
or have our husbands on to talk about it.
I wonder what they think. Because we really only listen to like...
I am obsessed with him, so he probably will think I love him more.
Okay, hear me out though. If you think he loves you more and he thinks you love him more, that's great.
Then it's good.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually wonder... But I don't know.
No, Mike will be... Like, we're like Allie and whatever from The Notebook.
Yeah.
That's us. Mm-hmm. He's like obsessed with me. Like, he would build a house for me if it came down to it.
But she gave up everything for him.
Oh, true. Okay. Okay, we'll save some of these, right?
Yeah. Okay.
We have so many. Who's more emotional?
Me.
Same.
Okay. John is my little Gemini king though, so like he can be emotional.
Oh, so he's two-faced. I'm kidding. He's trying to get a reaction out of him.
But I am definitely more emotional. What about you?
What do you think?
But I like kind of... This is so bad. Oh, we might have to edit this out. John will get emotional sometimes and I like think that it's funny because he he doesn't never get emotional. Like he is a highly emotional person, but he likes to think that he's not. Okay. So like sometimes he'll get emotional about something, but he doesn't even realize he's getting emotional about it. And he's not unjustified or wrong. Like he's
emotional
totally
as
right.
In, like yelling or crying?
No. Like neither. Just like
worked up.
Just yeah. Like
okay.
Like maybe he's like teetering on something or like feels frustrated by something or sad by something, like anything.
I would laugh.
And I think it's funny because he doesn't even notice that he's getting emotional.
Yeah. And you're like, what?
I'm like, bro, like you're just.
Yeah, I feel that. I know exactly what you're saying.
Like he won't be able to pinpoint what's going on. And I'm like, you're getting emotional.
Yeah. Like on the way, Mike, like if you guys knew Mike, you and me together, you would like, I show my emotions. You can tell what I'm feeling at all times of the day. It'll show on my face within 2 seconds. Mike, opposite. Like you can never tell what he's thinking, feeling, whatever. He's gotten so much better over the years, thank God. And I've trained him to come out of the emotional shell. But like,
which is so good.
But yeah, just very different. But like, even just on the way here today, like was getting angered at the traffic, which is also an ick. But I thought it was funny. I was like, chill.
Yeah, right.
You know?
But like, cause you know that like, they're just having a little bit of an emotional time today.
Right. Like they're allowed to show emotions because I'm literally crying and screaming 24/7.
I love when John shows emotion. I want him to show emotion all the time.
I encourage.
I get frustrated when he doesn't show emotion.
Same.
Which is why sometimes when the stakes are low, it's really not that serious. But he's like getting emotional about something but can't identify that what he's feeling is emotion.
Yes.
I like will giggle. Like
I'm like,
come
have
on.
strategies, which we can talk about in the future, for literally getting them to show emotion. Like I will sit down on the couch and I'll Google like what questions to ask your husband to get them to, and literally it works. So we'll do that in the future.
That's actually hilarious.
Okay, well, we have so many other segments planned for you guys. We have like a fun celebrity. We're going to talk like celeb marriages, what they're doing right versus wrong, etc. in the future. Like anything relating to relationships, lifestyle, marriage, keeping your friends and your friendships thriving. Even
talking about last names.
Oh,
that's a big one coming up. We're going to talk all about the last name change.
We'll even talk some wedding stuff. If you guys really want us to. We'll
but what we really want you to do is email us your questions. so that when we do this, we have perspective.
Email us long questions. We'll be answering questions in the future. Email us, DM us, but really send emails. The email is honeywerehomepodcast@gmail.com. That's HONEYWERE homepodcast@gmail.com. Email us there and like just DM us. Let us know how you liked this episode, what you liked, what you didn't like. Rate, review, subscribe.
Yes. Wow. We would be such bad hosts if we just actually missed the entire point of doing an episode.
No, like literally, please leave a rating, review, and subscribe. It'll just like help us on our mental health. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, though. This was fun.
Thank you, guys. And this is a space for all of us. So we want to hear from you, not just like ourselves. This is like a get to know us episode. You really got to know us. In the future, we're going to like be of value and help you, but also entertain you because we're funny.
Yeah. We don't want it all to be
just like
down.
us.
Yeah. And we'll have guests.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's so much more to come. We actually just said we weren't going to talk for a year and then did, which was probably
and
predictable.
We won't be like sweating in a room. Like we'll be like there will be air flow.
It might not be as cute, but we won't be dying. So
exactly. We love you guys. What's our sign off?
Oh God. Somebody should probably tell us what they think our sign off should be.
Okay.
I didn't even get there in my thought process.
Well, until then, share us with your friends. Tell them you can listen wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. And we love you.
Have a good one, guys.
Mwah.
Bye.